How's it going, everyone? Today we're going to talk about another potential draft pick for the Laker team, and that is Josh Green out of Arizona. We'll talk about his potential fit on the team, his strengths, weaknesses, an NBA comparison, and then decide whether or not he'd be a good fit for them or not. But before we get to the video, if you take the time to drop a like on the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, it would be greatly appreciated. And turn on notifications to get notified right away when I drop a video. Thank you. But anyway, today we're going to talk about Josh Green, a 6'6" shooting guard small forward combo out of Arizona. Being a wing player, he could potentially fit a big position of need for the Laker team. The team really lacked a consistent wing defender all year long. Danny Green is getting older and is no longer an elite wing defender. Kuzma is improving, but he is not yet a good defender either. And LeBron can be a great wing defender, but they only use him as a defender in important games when they need him most. And along with that, the Laker team has very few guys under contract through next year, and even fewer under contract through 2022. They only have LeBron, Danny Green, Kyle Kuzma, Alex Caruso, Quinn Cook, and Talen Horton Tucker guaranteed to be on their team next year. And while Anthony Davis is very likely to return to the team with a new max contract, that doesn't provide a wing defender to the team. After bringing back AD with a max deal, the team won't have very much money left to spend in free agency. This means that they'll either have to find talent with mostly either low-level contracts in free agency or pick up a guy in the draft. And while they could potentially trade their draft pick, they could also use it to fill a position of need for the team. And this is where a guy like Josh Green could potentially come in and play right away, because his number one strength is his ability to defend. And that is what we'll be going over first. I think Green surprised a lot of people with how good of a defender he was during his freshman year of college, along with how much effort he showed while defending. He was originally a highly touted prospect for his offensive potential, but his ability to defend at a high level is what has kept him projected to be drafted in the first round. Green is a great defender largely due to his great frame. Along with his good height, he has great length with a 6'10" wingspan and is already a built 210 pounds as a freshman. His good length, strength, and mobility could potentially allow him to guard positions 1 through 4 in the NBA. That alone is incredibly valuable to any team, especially in the NBA today where playing small ball is so popular. And the stats back up his ability to defend at a high level as well. He not only averaged 1.5 steals a game, but he also had a great defensive box plus-minus rating of 4.1 and a defensive win shares rating of 1.9. These are both great indicators of how well he defended in college, especially when you realize he wasn't playing on an elite team. And when you compare him to probably the top defender in the draft in Isaac Okoro, who is very close to Green in height and weight as well, Green actually has similar, if not better, defensive numbers. And while I'm not saying that Green is a better defender than Okoro, because numbers definitely can't fully show everything a good defender does, it does at least show that Green was a great defender and could be NBA ready in that regard. But now we'll move on to a weakness for him, and that is his ability to create his own shot. While he definitely has a lot of potential in this area, it just isn't there yet and was the main reason for him falling out of the draft lottery. He doesn't seem fully comfortable with the ball in his hands yet in the half court. He isn't really creative with the ball yet and doesn't have a go-to move. He doesn't have great ball handling ability yet and needs to work on his left hand a bit too. Nearly all of his offensive production came from fast break opportunities, cuts to the rim, or from catch and shoot opportunities. And while there's nothing wrong with that at all, it just shows that he has a long way to go to reach his full potential. Because right now, he is mostly reliant on other players to get him an opportunity to score. But even with only doing that, he has still been great at finding opportunities to score. He is great at cutting to the rim and finishing, and he has also shown potential to be a spot-up three-point shooter. But now moving on to strength number 2, and that is his athletic ability. We already talked about his great size and length, that is only complemented by his athletic ability. He is very quick and is a blur in the open court when he gets a steal. He is hard to keep up with or to get around when he is defending you. Along with that, he has a good vertical as well. He can play above the rim, which not only helps him finish some impressive dunks, but allows him to contest shots at the rim or on jump shots as well. I believe his athletic ability will be the number one thing that helps him transition into the NBA right away. He is a great athlete even by NBA standards, and this will allow a team to give him minutes right away just because they know he'll be able to keep up with everyone else. It also makes him fun to watch, especially when he can turn a steal into an impressive dunk in the open court. But now moving on to weakness number 2 for him, and that is just simply that he may take a while to fully develop. He is obviously far from the player that Arizona was hoping to get when he committed to them. He has a ton of talent and potential, but just hasn't been able to show it in any one area yet on offense. He only averaged 12 points a game, he didn't show a great ability to create his own shot, he isn't a playmaker for others, and while he shot the ball fairly well, he didn't wow anyone with his efficiency. He shot 42.4% from the field, 36.1% from 3, and 78% from the free throw line. Those are all average numbers and nothing really stands out to you there. Or even with his assist to turnover ratio, he averaged 1 more assist than turnover, which again really isn't good or bad. He has a lot of average offensive numbers that show he has potential in many areas, but not yet any one refined skill. He clearly is a project player on offense and has obviously turned off a lot of teams with their willingness to draft him. Players who show potential in many areas but no real skill in any one area can sometimes turn out as a draft bust. But the good thing about Green is that he will at the very least be a good defender, which limits the odds that he will be a bust. Now moving on to the final strength for him, and that is his ability to catch and shoot. This in particular is a strength for him when potentially looking at him being drafted by the Laker team. Because when playing for them as a wing player, you need to be able to catch and shoot from the 3-point line, and while he wasn't incredible, his 3-point percentage showed that he is capable. And it helps to know that nearly every 3-point shot he made was off a catch and shoot opportunity. He often played in the corner, and that is where he made most of his 3-point shots, and that is exactly where he'd be playing on offense with a team like the Lakers if they were to draft him. He'd get plenty of opportunities coming from LeBron or AD when teams double team them and leave a player like him open in the corner. His ability to knock down corner 3-point shots could give him the label of a great 3-and-D player right away in the NBA, which is a very valuable label to have in today's NBA. But now we'll move on to an NBA comparison for him because I really don't have a third weakness for him. His game is mostly just limited by his unrefined offensive game. But for an NBA comparison, I kind of think of Dillon Brooks and Josh Richardson. His game and length remind me of Josh Richardson, but he's a little more athletic and stronger like Dillon Brooks. Either way, both Brooks and Richardson are great 3-and-D players in the NBA today, and who are both improving their offensive games every year. Josh Richardson and Josh Green both not only share the same first name, but they are both nearly identical in height and length as well. They are both around 6'6", and they both have around a 6'10" wingspan. They both have a similar game as well, both being defenders who can guard positions at least 1 through 3, and use their length and athletic ability to get steals and run in the open court. Their stats in college are even pretty similar in terms of efficiency. Richardson was a 4-year college senior and had a little more responsibility on offense, but their final years in college still were fairly similar. They both shot similar numbers from the field and from 3, they both had nearly identical rebounding numbers, both were average playmakers, and both averaged at least 1.5 steals a game. Along with that, both were still pretty raw on offense coming out of college. Richardson was a little more developed due to playing 4 years in college, but neither had any one go-to move going into the NBA draft, and that is where I think Josh Green can learn to develop his game in a similar way. Play hard while defending, let his offensive game come to him over time, even if that means being primarily an off-ball player in his first couple years. Overall, I really like Josh Green as a potential fit for the Lakers. The only problem is that he may be drafted a couple spots before their pick. He is projected to go somewhere between the 20th and 30th pick, so you never really know. But what do you guys think? Should the Laker team draft Josh Green? I know a few of you have mentioned him in the comments before, so I'd like to see what everyone thinks of him. Comment what you think of the Lakers potentially drafting Josh Green and we can talk about it there. But that'll do it for this video. I appreciate all of you who watched until the end of the video. You guys are the real ones. And don't forget to drop a like on the video if you enjoyed and to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And as always, thank you for watching.